All right. We're diving deep into chelated magnesium today. You've really done your homework on this one. Articles, product descriptions, studies, you've got it all.
Yeah, it's a popular one. A lot of people are curious about it.
Exactly. So let's cut through the noise and see if this supplement really lives up to the hype.
Right. Is it something you should actually be considering?
Yeah. Well, a lot of the articles, like this one from the Holier blog, talk about absorption being a key factor.
Oh, absolutely. You know, magnesium is involved in so many bodily processes.
Oh, yeah. It's like the MVP mineral.
It really is.
Yeah.
But it can't do its job if it doesn't reach your cells.
Right. Makes sense.
And that's where chelation comes in.
Okay, so how does that work?
Think of it this way. Standard magnesium supplements are like sending a letter with no address.
Yeah.
It might get there eventually, but chances are it'll get lost along the way.
Oh, I see. So chelation is like adding that address label.
Yes.
It's making sure the magnesium gets delivered right where it needs to go.
Precisely. The claw analogy from the Wikipedia article is a good one.
Yeah, I saw that.
Chelation attaches magnesium to another molecule, making it easier for your body to absorb and utilize it.
Okay, so it's like a delivery system.
Yeah, you could think of it that way.
That makes sense. But how much of a difference does this address label actually make? Is it just marketing hype, or is there real science behind it?
Well, I'd say it's definitely more than just hype. Studies have shown that certain chelated forms, like magnesium glycinate, can be absorbed up to 40% better.
Wow, 40%. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's significant. And it's not just about getting more magnesium in, it's also about reducing those annoying side effects some people experience.
Oh, right, the digestive issues.
Exactly. Not fun.
Yeah, not fun at all. So chelation means more absorption, potentially fewer side effects.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
Now, you provided some info from a company called Albion Minerals,
Right.
and they seem to be all about chelation.
Oh, yeah, they're big on it.
What's their angle? Are they just trying to sell us something?
Well, what I find interesting about Albion is that they're not just selling basic supplements. They're offering chelated minerals in all sorts of forms.
Oh, really? Like what?
Powders, food additives, you name it. They're even going beyond basic health and looking at specialized applications.
That's interesting.
It seems like you're interested in the bigger picture of how chelation can be used, which is cool.
Yeah, I am. I hate feeling limited to just one option.
I get that.
And speaking of options, some of the sources mention chelated magnesium being explored for autoimmune issues.
Yes.
Like Hashimoto's and inflammatory bowel disease.
Right. Fascinating stuff.
There's a connection there.
Well, it ties back to absorption, actually.
Oh.
These conditions can impair your body's ability to absorb magnesium effectively.
So it can lead to deficiencies.
Exactly.
So the idea is that by using a chelated form, you're bypassing that problem.
That's the thinking.
Interesting.
The Well Theory article you shared highlights this. It points out that research is still ongoing, of course, but there's a good rationale behind it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's not a cure-all, right?
Definitely not. It's important to manage expectations.
For sure. But if it can help with absorption, I can see why it's being investigated.
Right.
Now, one thing that caught my eye was this article on chelation, harnessing and enhancing heavy metal detoxification.
Oh, yeah, that one.
It mentioned something called a provocation test,
Right.
which sounds kind of intense.
It's actually more straightforward than it sounds. Think of it this way. Standard blood tests just show you how much magnesium is in your blood at that moment.
Okay.
A provocation test goes deeper. It shows how your body actually uses magnesium.
So it's a more dynamic measurement,
Yes.
like a behind-the-scenes look.
Precisely. You take a chelating agent, and they measure your levels before and after.
Interesting.
It gives you a more accurate picture of your body's true magnesium status.
Okay, that makes sense. It's like getting a more complete picture of what's going on.
Exactly. And that personalized information can be really valuable,
I can see that.
especially if you're considering supplementing with chelated magnesium.
Right.
It's about getting the right information for you.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So it helps you make more informed choices.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of which, this excerpt from Nootropics Planet talks about chelated minerals, but also raises some concerns.
Yeah, it's not all sunshine and roses, right?
What should people be cautious about?
Well, like any supplement, chelated minerals can interact with some medications.
Oh, so it's not just like a harmless vitamin you can take.
No, definitely not. You really need to talk to a doctor.
Especially if you're already on something else.
Exactly.
So this deep dive isn't just about learning the science, it's about having those conversations with your doctor.
Exactly.
You can make those good decisions.
Yep. And, you know, there's another layer to this.
Oh.
It ties back to that personalization thing.
Okay.
Even within chelated magnesium, there are different types.
Wait, so it's not just chelated versus non-chelated?
Right.
There are variations within the chelated forms.
Exactly, each with its own, properties and potential benefits.
Like what?
Well, for example, magnesium glycinate is known for its calming effects.
Oh, interesting.
And potential benefits for, sleep and anxiety.
Okay.
Magnesium malate is often recommended for energy and muscle recovery.
So it's about finding the right one for you.
Yeah, finding the right chelated form for your needs and goals.
Okay, so how do you know which one to choose?
That's where working with a healthcare professional can be really helpful.
Yeah, they can guide you.
Yeah, they can help you navigate those nuances.
Yeah.
Consider your health history, medications, all that.
Right.
It's really about finding the right tool for the job, so to speak.
That's a good way to put it.
And just like you wouldn't use a hammer to screw in a light bulb.
You wouldn't want to use the wrong form of magnesium.
Exactly. And miss out on those benefits.
Now, remember how we talked about Albion offering those different formats?
Yeah, powders, food additives, all that.
That actually ties into something else I found in the Wikipedia article.
No.
It turns out chelation isn't just for supplements.
Right?
It's used in all sorts of things.
Cleaning products, fertilizers.
Even dental adhesives, can you believe it?
Yeah. Chelation is this fundamental process with so many applications.
It's wild.
It really shows how science connects different areas in surprising ways.
I know. When I started this deep dive, I thought it was just going to be about magnesium.
Right.
But we've gone way beyond that. We've talked about absorption, personalized testing, different types of chelation.
And its use in other industries.
It's been a real journey.
It has. And that's what's so great about these deep dives. You never know where they'll lead you.
Exactly. They expand your perspective.
Yeah. It's not just about acquiring knowledge, but about seeing the world in new ways.
It's been so eye-opening. But before we wrap up, I want to go back to something we touched on earlier. Critical thinking.
Oh, yeah, that's key.
Especially when it comes to health and supplements.
Absolutely. In a world full of information, critical thinking is more important than ever.
So how do we become better critical thinkers? What should we keep in mind?
Well, first and foremost, remember that not all information is created equal.
Right. Just because it's online or someone popular said it doesn't make it true.
Exactly. It's like that saying, don't believe everything you read on the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
So how do you sift through all the noise?
Yeah, how do you find reliable information?
A good place to start is looking at the source.
Okay.
Is it from a reputable organization, a peer-reviewed journal, or a website with a clear agenda?
So it's about being a detective, like we were talking about earlier.
I like that analogy. It's about asking questions, digging deeper, and not just accepting things at face value.
Not taking things for granted.
Yeah. And this applies to online info, but also to conversations with healthcare professionals.
That's a great point. You talked about informed conversations with doctors.
Right.
What are some good questions to ask?
Well, start by being honest about your health history, any medications you take, and your reasons for wanting to try the supplement. And then don't be afraid to ask specific questions.
About benefits, risks, interactions, dosage.
Exactly. Be an active participant in your healthcare, not just a passive follower.
Right. You're in charge of your own health.
Yeah, exactly. And the more informed you are, the better decisions you can make.
This has been so insightful. We started with a stack of sources, and now we have this deep understanding of chelated magnesium.
It's been a true deep dive.
It really has. We've learned about the science, the risks, the benefits, and most importantly, how to think critically about all of it.
And that's what's so important. Knowledge is power, but only when paired with critical thinking.
And a healthy dose of skepticism.
Exactly.
It really is amazing how something like magnesium can be so complex, right?
It is. We've covered absorption, different forms, potential benefits. It's a lot to take in.
It really is. And I think that's why it's so important to, approach all this information critically.
Oh, absolutely. One thing that really struck me about the sources you provided is the sheer variety of perspectives you've got. You've got scientific studies, product descriptions, even those anecdotal accounts.
Yeah, it's a real mix.
It is. It's a real mix. And that's great, getting a well-rounded view.
That was my goal. I wanted to see all sides of the story.
Right. But it also really highlights how important that critical thinking is.
For sure.
You've got to be able to sort through all that information and figure out what's reliable and what's not.
So how do you do that?
Yeah.
Are there any, red flags people should look out for?
Yeah. One thing to watch out for is, the overuse of absolutes.
Absolutes.
Yeah, Like if a product claims to cure something or promises like miraculous results,
Okay.
that's a big red flag.
Right. It's like too good to be true.
Exactly. There are no quick fixes when it comes to health.
What else?
Another red flag is a lack of scientific evidence.
Okay.
If something's only based on like testimonials and stories, that's a sign to be cautious.
Got it.
You want to look for those studies published in good journals.
Right. The real deal.
Exactly. And be wary of claims that just haven't been backed up with research.
Okay, so check the sources, look for evidence, got it. But what about those studies themselves?
Yeah.
Aren't they sometimes funded by the companies selling these supplements?
That's a really great point, and it's definitely something to be aware of.
Yeah.
Those conflicts of interest can influence the findings.
Right.
So it's always good to do a little digging.
Like who funded it?
Exactly. And what their motivations might be.
So it really is like detective work.
I like that. Following the trail, looking for those biases.
Yeah.
And remember, critical thinking isn't just about being skeptical.
It's about being open-minded too, right?
Absolutely. Don't just dismiss something because it goes against what you already believe.
Right.
Be open to new ideas. Evaluate the evidence.
Easy to get stuck in our own bubbles, especially online.
It really is. And speaking of online information,
Oh, tell me about it.
I get overwhelmed sometimes too. So much conflicting advice.
Yeah, it's a lot. How do you even make sense of it all?
Yeah. Well, one thing I try to do is focus on those reputable sources.
Right.
Like government agencies,
Like what?
the National Institutes of Health, professional organizations like the American Medical Association.
Oh, okay, the big names.
Right. Or well-respected universities.
They said
They tend to have like higher standards for accuracy.
right. They've got reputations to uphold.
Exactly. Another tip is to look for consensus.
Consensus.
If multiple reputable sources are saying the same thing,
Oh,
that's a good indicator that the information is reliable.
so it's like more brains are better.
Exactly. And, don't be afraid to talk to more than one healthcare professional.
Get a second opinion.
Yeah. Ask those questions. Do your own research. You're in charge of your health.
Yeah, it's your body. It's funny. We started this whole deep dive talking about chelated magnesium.
We did.
But it's really become about so much more than that.
I think so too.
It's about being a smart health consumer, knowing how to evaluate information.
And advocating for your own well-being.
Taking charge.
Yes.
And I think that's the biggest takeaway from all of this.
I agree. Chelated magnesium may or may not be the right choice for you.
Right.
But the skills we've talked about, critical thinking, research, decision-making.
Those are for everyone.
Exactly. Those will serve you well no matter what.
I couldn't have said it better myself. So, to our listener out there,
Yeah.
we hope you've enjoyed this journey into the world of chelated magnesium.
It's been fun.
But more importantly, we hope you've come away with a renewed sense of curiosity.
And a healthy dose of skepticism.
Absolutely. And the confidence to take charge of your own health journey.
You make informed choices.
Exactly. Keep asking questions, keep learning, and keep taking care of yourself.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
That's a wrap for this deep dive into chelated magnesium. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. Until next time, stay curious and stay well.